public square in Prague. The year is 1583. Crowds gather not for a market or celebration, but to witness punishment. At the center of the square, a wooden structure has been erected, simple yet sinister in its purpose. Hanging from the upper beam, swaying slightly in the breeze, is an iron hook the size of a human hand. This is no fishing hook or agricultural tool. Its curves were forged specifically to pierce the human body. Its point was sharpened to penetrate flesh and muscle. Its shape was calculated to support the weight of a living person without allowing them to escape quickly through death. This is the executioner's hook, an instrument of execution and torture used throughout Europe between the 13th and 18th centuries, designed to kill slowly, painfully, and publicly. The victim would not be hanged with a rope that breaks the neck in seconds. They would not be beheaded with an axe that ends life in one stroke. They would be suspended by the hook inserted through a rib, under the jaw, through the stomach, or any other body part chosen by the executioner, and left to hang while dying slowly from injuries, blood loss, shock, or exposure. A process that could last hours or even days. Today we explore the history of this brutal device, how it was used, who suffered under it, and what it reveals about societies that transformed death into a public spectacle of maximum cruelty. The executioner's hook, known in German as Fliehrhahn or butcher's hook, was exactly that, a tool adapted from butcher shops, where it was used to hang animal carcasses. The transition from commercial tool to execution instrument reflects a medieval and early modern mentality that viewed criminals as less than human, reduced to meat to be displayed as a warning. The typical hook was made of forged iron with a thick shaft for structural strength, a wide curve to engage the body, and a sharpened point for penetration. Sizes varied, but most were between 25 and 40 centimeters in length, large enough to support adult weight without breaking. Some hooks had simple points, others had double or triple points to secure the victim more firmly. They were fixed to wooden posts, gallows beams, or castle walls, serving as reminders of the authorities' power to punish. The use varied by region, crime, and cruelty of executioners. In some executions, the hook was inserted under the arm, piercing between ribs without hitting vital organs. The victim was hoisted and left to hang sideways, the bodice weight slowly tearing flesh while blood loss and shock caused death. It was agonizing, not immediate, and designed for suffering. Other methods placed the hook under the jaw, through the mouth or throat, and out the top of the head. Faster, yet equally brutal, victims suffocated or bled to death within hours. Some were impaled through the abdomen or back, puncturing organs but sparing the heart, prolonging agony. The placement was calculated, symbolic of each crime. Through the rib for betrayal, the mouth for blasphemy, the abdomen for lust or gluttony. These acts turned the condemned body into moral theater, a display of justice and power. Records across Europe describe its use. In Amsterdam, hooks were fixed to the WAG building at Dam Square to display executed criminals. In Nuremberg, they were stored in the municipal tower among torture instruments. Trial records from Prague, Vienna, and other cities of the Holy Roman Empire tell of executions by hook during the religious wars, when Catholics and Protestants killed each other with cruelty. In 1535, during the Anabaptist rebellion in Munster, captured leaders were tortured and executed by Catholic forces. Jan van Leden, who proclaimed himself king, was torn with red-hot pincers for over an hour before death. His companions suffered the same fate. Their bodies were placed in iron cages and hung from hooks on St. Lambert's Church, where they remained for decades. The cages still hang there, empty reminders of 16th-century brutality. Hooks were also tools of torture in interrogations. Victims were suspended briefly, lowered for questioning, then raised again until confession or death. Survivors bore scars as proof of justice's cruelty. Public executions using hooks symbolized deterrence, order, and power. Yet voices like Erasmus and Montaigne condemned their savagery. By the 18th century, Enlightenment ideals finally ended their use. In 1764, reformers like Cesare Beccaria published on crimes and punishments, arguing against torture and the death penalty, influencing legal reforms across Europe. Enlightened monarchs began abolishing cruel executions, replacing them with supposedly humane methods. The guillotine, introduced during the French Revolution in 1792, was designed for swift, painless death, a sharp contrast to earlier methods. Hanging too was standardized to break the neck instantly. Executions moved from public squares to prison courtyards as societies began questioning the morality of public spectacles of death. During the late 18th and early 19th centuries, the executioner's hook vanished from judicial use, though mob justice occasionally revived it. The last official use likely occurred in the late 1700s, but by the 19th century, such punishments were condemned as barbaric. Surviving examples of execution hooks now rest in museums across Europe. The Medieval Criminal Museum in Rothenburg and Amsterdam's Torture Museum both display specimens. Yet these exhibits are debated. Critics claim they turn historical suffering into spectacle, sanitizing horror and exaggerating cruelty for tourism. Defenders argue they preserve truth, forcing visitors to face humanity's violent past and the importance of human rights. Archaeological evidence strengthens written history. Excavations of gallows sites have uncovered skeletal remains showing trauma consistent with brutal punishments. Forensic analysis confirms perforations and fractures from instruments like hooks, transforming old accounts into tangible proof. This evidence gives voice to the silenced victims, making the horror of medieval justice undeniable. The hook's legacy extends beyond its physical form. It represents an era when punishment aimed not to reform or protect, but to inflict maximum suffering. Over time, modern societies rejected this philosophy, embracing ideas of dignity, proportionality, and rehabilitation. Yet, traces of that cruelty persist. Debates over death penalties, prison abuse, and torture reveal the fragile balance between justice and vengeance. The hook also warns of technology's dark adaptability. A simple butcher's tool for hanging meat became an instrument of human death. This transformation reveals how ordinary inventions can be corrupted when societies justify dehumanization. Even today, medical tools, chemicals, and surveillance devices have been misused for torture and control. For the countless victims who perished on hooks, there was no mercy, only agony and fear. Their bodies displayed as symbols of power now serve as reminders. The executioner's hook stands as a grim testament to humanity's capacity for institutional cruelty and the enduring need to guard justice with compassion.